You know, very often when people say, what do you do? Instead of doing the long interview, I say I'm a musician, because I know it's going to come slowly. They're going to say, well, who do you play with, you know? So I go, I'm a musician, I play guitar with Sting, and I'm on my way to a gig or to an airport. And that just stops the conversation. I see it kind of as an obligation to do this every couple of years because I work so much with Sting, and I don't think I would be very useful to him if I didn't do something else. It's like 180 degrees the other way. So when we meet, I've got something to offer. You know, it's a kind of balancing act of trying to do the opposite of what I do with him, because it's instrumental music, but it's also very connected in a way because both disciplines feed off each other. So I take a lot from the Sting experience into my world, and I take a lot from my world experience into his realm and his music. So it's really important that I do it every couple of years. Yeah, actually, you're absolutely right. It is kind of a philosophy, you know, that label. It's a very well put, I think. Yeah, there's something kind of, there's a mystique about being on a label like that, you know, and it's kind of a miracle that I'm doing it, because I used to listen to all that stuff when I was very young, and to be actually doing it with the same producer and sometimes the same engineer and in the same studios, it's really great. You know what, I'm not so obsessed about the sound. I'm more, if there's any obsession, it's about the composition and having the right people around me. And that's kind of what ECM is sort of about as well. Because what he does as a producer, Manfred, is he likes to capture the moment. That's why those records are recorded in 2 days and mixed in 1 day. It's pretty intense. So you're capturing a moment and you're playing the music just the way it is. There's no manipulation or kind of Pro Tools magic going on. It's just, this is it. Mistakes, misarticulations and everything. I see him more as a film director, and he brings in actors who are out of their comfort zone, but he gets an impression of them and their music and their statement much better than they could come up with on their own. It's just like a father figure. He's like the fifth Beatle, you know what I mean? It's like that's what George Martin was. Just short stories, and I've got to be surrounded with musicians who are like character actors who can deliver these ideas and these scenes and interpret them. I spent a couple of months in the south of France writing during the lockdown, actually, and the second lockdown. So I had that kind of a mystique about it. There was no one around. I was on my own a lot of the time, walking in the Luberon, in the woods, and you know, in silence. And so I did a lot of the writing, and then there's the structuring of the music on my own. And then the next stage was to bring in the musicians to rehearse for 4 or 5 days and just to play around with these ideas and these structures. And then the next phase was to go into the studio and just boom, just put it down the way it is. I mean, Sting taught me one thing, is that if you surround yourself with great musicians, you end up looking great. I went, how do you mean? He said, just watch. So after 33 years, I know what he meant when he said that. To be egoless, you know, this is the thing, that's one of the main things I've learned. And also, he's quite strict musician. You know, his sense of hard work and exploring all the possibilities that can happen with a simple idea. Doing the work. He's very disciplined. He used to be a school teacher, and he likes to work. And I like to do the same thing too. And that's one of the main things that I've learned from him is, if I have a simple idea, like a motif, is go round all the possibilities and see what are the possibilities with these two chords, and go round all the houses and all the possibilities. Even if you end up with something very, very simple, if you did the work, it has some kind of integrity. Instead of just going, oh, that's a cool idea, let's put a groove on it and then loop it. Sting likes to do the work, and probably 80% of what he does or what we do is discarded, but still there's no such thing as wasted work, as an idea that's wasted, because it might have taken you all those permutations to get to that very simple final solution with the arrangement. A lot of what I've learned is from the less known musicians. I mean, like Sarah Jane Morris, who's quite well known actually. She was in the Communards and she had a #1 hit, but she's been out of the game for a long time, but she's an incredible musician. I mean, there's so much, King Swamp. There's a lot of bands, and Julia Fordham. I mean, when I got called by Mark Hollis, my first question was like, why would he call me? How can I possibly offer anything to Mark Hollis? It's already there. What he does is like perfect the way it is, and he's a good guitar player as well. But that was surprising to me. But then when I was playing with him, we ended up writing together. So we wrote a song. We actually wrote a few, but one of them ended up on his album. You know, that was a surprising studio situation. I didn't expect that. And also working with Phil Collins. I didn't expect to be in that situation, but somehow that really worked. And I didn't see how it could before I did it. When I played Another Day in Paradise, you know, I just came up with a very, very simple guitar motif. And I was warming up. I wasn't even serious. I was just warming up. And then his producer and Phil, they said, yeah, that's it. And I'm thinking, are you guys crazy? You know, you haven't heard, I'm just warming up. You haven't heard what I'm capable of. But they said, no, we want that. And it was the most easy riff that my next door neighbor can play. But they liked it. Little surprising moments like that have happened quite a few times. I'm not a virtuoso guitarist. I never claimed to be. I'm not even a serious guitar player, but guitar is my instrument. And if I hear a song and somebody wants me to make a contribution, I can, you know. If I want to listen to instrumentation, I'm more interested in piano players. Because how do you get an original sound on a piano? It fascinates me. Because you've got the keys, and the hammer goes on the key. So how can you be original? And I love hearing a pianist be original, you know? Same with guitar players. I mean, Jeff Beck. If I hear Jeff Beck, I go, wow, well, that guy's got a voice. And I suppose the way that I play is a voice in the end, but it's not what I'm playing. It's more like the voices, the voicings, the chords that I'm hearing accompanying that melody. It's not really the sound so much.